and we're here at the Campus for All Animals, the Houston SPCA. So thank you for joining us. We have a really informative topic for you today. Today, we're going to talk about bringing a senior pet into your home and all things that you need to know in order to make sure your home is ready and to give your senior pet a good, comfortable, happy life. So think of any questions that you have about adopting a senior pet or about your current senior pet and put those in the chat, and I'll see if I can be helpful to you. In the meantime, consider coming on down to our adoption center and looking at the pets that we have available for adoption, because I want to introduce to you our current pet of the week. His name is Bronco. Bronco is our oldest resident. Bronco is approximately 12 years old. He's a neutered male, and he came into our shelter because of old age. And so, you know, Bronco has a lot of life left in him. And sometimes people may feel like as dogs get older or cats get older, that they are not able to have a good quality of life. But I want to talk to you about how we can help them to have a good quality of life and how they can still be a wonderful addition to your family. So Bronco is here. He's available for adoption. He would make someone a wonderful pet, and he's a very happy dog. So please come on down and take a look at all of the animals that we have available. Okay, so let's talk about owning a senior pet and what that means. And so when I say senior pet, sometimes you may be unsure about when to consider your pet a senior. What do I mean by a senior pet? And that is going to vary. It's going to vary based on usually the breed of dog that you have. So typically, by definition, we will call a senior pet senior or geriatric once they have exceeded 75% of their expected lifespan. And as you all may know, that a lifespan will change depending on the breed of dog. It's usually the size. So in general, smaller breed dogs tend to live a little bit longer, maybe 12 to 15 or even 20 years, whereas large breed dogs tend to have shorter lifespans. So we're talking 7 to 10 years. So once an animal reaches 75% of their life expectancy, that's when we would consider them geriatric. So depending on the breed of dog, and again, that might vary if you have a mixed breed dog, so you can just go by size, small, medium, and large breed. So that's how you know if you have a senior pet. Does anyone have any questions to start with regarding their
So
senior?
to calculate, a senior age, is it true that's like a human year equals 7 dog years?
That is a very common theory. I grew up thinking that too, that 1 human year is equal to 7 dog years because dogs age faster than people. And that is true. Dogs do age faster. And typically in small breeds, they will age faster when they're younger, but then their aging sort of slows down, which is why a smaller breed dog tends to have a longer lifespan overall. And so that old theory that 1 dog year equals 7 human years, that's not quite as accurate anymore. So what research has shown is that dogs actually age faster than we thought. And so 1 human year, depending on the size of the dog, could actually equal 12 years or 30 years in some cases. So 1 dog year could be, 12, 15, or up to 30 human years. So it really just depends on the breed of the dog that you have and the size. But talk to your family veterinarian about the age that they think your current dog is and their overall health, and we can help you determine when your dog reaches senior status.
Miss Jennifer is asking, when is it too old for them to get vaccines? Is there such a thing as aging out of vaccinations?
I think that's a wonderful question. And I think it is probably dependent on your dog's lifestyle, and your veterinarian and what's best for you. So the good thing about vaccinations is that we can tailor them to the pet's lifestyle, particularly as they get older. So in puppies, we want to make sure that we kind of stick to a set vaccination schedule. Once your dog becomes an adult, usually, after about 5 years or so, or certainly when they reach senior status, your veterinarian may evaluate your lifestyle and determine that your dog doesn't need to be vaccinated every year. Maybe they may recommend vaccinating every 3 years. So, or they may decide that maybe your pet only needs a rabies vaccine because that is the vaccine that's required by law. So I would say that that's very individual. It's going to depend on you, your pet's lifestyle, and how frequently your pet gets exposed to disease. So if you have a very active pet and maybe they're 10 or 11 years old, but you're still going out, you're going hiking, you're still around lots of other dogs with questionable vaccine history, your veterinarian may say, you know what, we're going to still give your dog vaccines every year. But if you're the type of family that is at home and is hanging out on the couch 99% of the time, then your veterinarian may say you don't have to get vaccinated quite as often.
Another question that came in is, how is pet health related to, the lifespan of a pet? Is that important?
Absolutely. So some good things to think about. As pets get older, they are more prone to organ disease. So as pets get older, they may be more likely to develop things like kidney failure, heart failure, liver failure, cancer, thyroid disease. So those organ diseases do tend to be associated typically with older pets. So what this means is, as your pet ages, keep your pet in contact with your family veterinarian at least once a year. As your pet ages, your veterinarian may want to see your pet more frequently so that we can catch any organ disease sooner rather than later, get them started on treatment, and hopefully stop the progression of the disease, of those diseases, if they're possible to do that.
So, and how important is like mouth health to that? Is there a correlation?
Absolutely. So we underestimate the benefit of dental health in our pets. We've talked about this before on our show, that dental health is very important. Keeping the teeth healthy, disease-free can actually contribute to a longer life. And that's because bacteria, plaque, those things that build up on the teeth, they create tiny little abrasions in the gums, in the gingiva. And that bacteria can actually enter into the bloodstream through those abrasions in the oral cavity. And once the bacteria is in the bloodstream, sometimes it colonizes or grows in organs like the heart, the liver, and the kidneys. So oral health is actually one of the best things that you can do. Getting your dogs or cats' teeth cleaned regularly is one of the best things that you can do to try to prevent those types of organ disease that would be caused by infection.
Ms. Jennifer is asking, when a pet is getting older and they start having restroom problems, what is a good tip to help them?
Yeah, that can be frustrating, but please don't feel like you as a pet parent are doing anything wrong and that your pet is not doing anything wrong. Oftentimes as they get older, the muscles in the sphincters of the bladder and the urethra, those organs that hold urine, sometimes those sphincters just aren't as tight, and your pet may not be able to hold his or her urine quite as well as they used to. And so they may start to dribble urine in the home. Things that you can do. There are medications that your veterinarian can prescribe to keep the urethral and bladder sphincters tighter so that they can hold on to the urine. There are also things that you can do to help, like putting a diaper on your pet so that if he or she has an accident, it's not on the carpet, it's not on your floor, it's in the diaper, it's easier to clean up. So again, there's medication, there are also diapers to help out with that problem.
Something else that's usually common with senior dogs is cataracts. Is that a normal thing? Do they have to be treated?
Yes,
cataracts. Or can it be prevented?
Yeah, cataracts is also very common. But I do want to make one notation about cataracts. So when you're looking at your pet's eyes, this is more common certainly in dogs, and you start to see a white or gray haziness in the eyes. This could be cataracts, but it could also be a normal old age change in senior pets that we call nuclear sclerosis or lenticular sclerosis. What it is it's just a normal old aging change of the lens in the eye, and it does cause a little bit of cloudiness. But those conditions are different. In cataracts, your pet will not be able to see. And so you will notice that your pet may have trouble navigating environments. He or she may run into walls or tables or chairs or you. But with lenticular sclerosis or nuclear sclerosis, they can still see. And so even though there will be a gray or somewhat white haziness to the eyes, those pets still have adequate vision. So you may need to see your family veterinarian to determine whether this is a normal aging change in the eye or whether it's true cataracts. If it's true cataracts, there are treatments for that. And so you could even have surgery for your pet to have the cataracts removed, which could actually help to improve their vision. But see your family veterinarian if you think your pet is suffering from vision problems.
And Miss Dan was asking, as our dog ages, what is an appropriate amount of activity for them?
Yeah, so as they age, their activity will normally slow down. So don't be too discouraged or surprised if you notice that your senior pet is not quite as active. So things that can contribute to that, one is just they're sort of settled into their life. It's like, I don't necessarily hang out till 2 o'clock in the morning anymore. Now it's only 1 o'clock. It's not even that late. But same thing in older pets, they just may not be as active and running around the house, but they still have energy and they still just like to enjoy life. It's just kind of on the couch next to you now. So taking them on shorter walks, but still getting them some exercise is still a wonderful thing to do to keep them active and healthy.
So what are other ways that we can provide enrichment for them?
Absolutely. So if maybe before you used to go hiking and now your dog doesn't seem to want to go hiking as much, or, they get winded, still go take them on shorter leash walks. If your dog likes to swim, swimming is still a really good low impact exercise that will keep your dog healthy. You can also get them food puzzles and ways that you can enrich their lives by putting their food in little toys and puzzles to keep their mind sharp and keep them kind of active in what they're doing on a day-to-day basis. Taking them out to dog parks may still be something that they can do where they get to see other dogs, meet other dogs, but they don't necessarily have to be running around.
Another question came in is, what are some supplies that can provide extra comfort in a home?
Great question. So your senior pet, one of the things, I think we've mentioned before on this show that senior pets are more likely to have arthritis. And so you want to make sure that they have a very comfortable environment to rest their joints in. So we have a wonderful, wonderful, nice, comfy bed here. So as your pet gets older, getting a bed that has a little bit more cushion to support those joints can really help increase their comfort level. So I would consider getting a nice, thick, comfortable bed. And if your pet is lying in the bed a longer period of time, it could mean that you have to replace your bed more frequently too. If you have a large breed dog and they're laying in the bed for a long time, sometimes the mattress may get worn down. So just keep it nice and fresh for them.
Somebody has, an 80-pound lab that's getting harder to get on the SUV, but she's reluctant to use the stairs. Any help or tips for that?
Yeah, that can be hard too if they've never seen the stairs before and don't know how to use them. So again, it could just be a little bit of training. So and treats too. So encouraging them to get on the stairs with treats, helping them up the stairs. So you can show them by gently lifting their forelimbs and rear limbs onto the stairs and using treats to coax them into the car. But it certainly could take some time for them to get used to the stairs and try to figure out, what they are for. If you have help, certainly having someone help you load your pet into the SUV could also be helpful and prevent injury with your pet trying to jump himself into the car.
And if someone has, hardwood floors throughout their house, what are some ways to help them from slipping now that, with arthritis and things like that?
Yeah, so hardwood floors, or slippery floor, like in your kitchen floor, the tile. So those surfaces can be hard and slippery. And particularly if your pet has arthritis, you could be concerned that they slip or slide and injure themselves. So purchasing like a runner, a piece of carpet or plastic for your pet to guide themselves throughout the house might be really beneficial. It'll give them kind of a more solid grip for them to walk on and can prevent some of those injuries. So I would say purchasing a runner, either plastic or carpet for those areas.
So Bronco is being so cute. We know he's up for adoption. What are some benefits to adopting a senior pet?
Yes. So if you are someone who's at home for a lot of the day and you want a companion, and maybe you aren't that active, maybe you don't necessarily have a super active lifestyle, but you want a pet to keep you company, a senior pet might be ideal. One, because they're going to match your lifestyle, right? They're going to be a pet that wants to sit with you on the couch, maybe watch you while you're on the computer or watching TV. It'll be a good couch buddy with you. The other thing is that their behavior is predictable. So once you adopt a senior pet, you can often, within a short period of time, get to know their habits, what they're used to, what they're not used to. They are often potty trained already, so you don't have to go through that difficult period of adopting a puppy when you're trying to get them potty trained. You have an adult dog that already has those manners in place, and you already know their personality, so there's a little bit less of an adjustment potential. But certainly, senior pets can be wonderful, wonderful companions, and they still have a lot of life left in them and love to give to you.
And what are some things for us to consider if we do want to adopt a senior pet, before we bring them into our home?
Yes, if you want to adopt a senior pet, again, consider how long you have to spend time at home with the pet, because we still want you to be able to be home and be, comfortable with them and provide company for them. You may want to consider anyone else in the household. So do you have other pets? And how do your other pets respond to other dogs or cats? Because you want to make sure that it is, a good match. You want to make sure that your current pet is tolerant of other dogs and or cats. You want to make sure any other people in the house are understanding. And so those things are important. You want to also dog proof your home. And this is really true for any adoption, but you want to dog proof your home. Make sure that the hazards are picked up, that there's not a lot of clutter. Again, that if it's a senior pet, that you have surfaces that he or she can walk on that aren't going to be extremely slippery. So you just want to dog proof your home and make sure that you provide a lot of comfort and a lot of time to spend with them as you're going through that adjustment period.
If they already have a senior dog at home, will adding another pet add stress to them or lead to any health issues?
That's a good question. So if you have a senior pet at home, is it appropriate to bring home another senior pet or pet at all? And it could just depend on your dog. So if you know that your dog has always gotten along with other pets, it might actually be a benefit to have another buddy in the home. Oftentimes dogs who get along with each other can help to increase their lifespan because they like the company. It's another way to increase their longevity just by providing a happy environment for them. So some of it might be knowing how your dog responds to other dogs. If you're adopting a senior pet, you may want to ask our adoption counselors if we have any history on the dog to know if our pet has lived with other dogs before. That way you can be, more cognizant of whether or not you expect those dogs to get along.
Somebody asked, they had a bad experience when waiting too long to, plan the end of life for their senior pet. What should we be doing, looking for if we do have a senior pet?
This is a very difficult question. So if you have a senior pet, and this could be a pet that has pre-existing health conditions, or it could be one that does not. But in any case, you could be wondering, how do I know when my pet is suffering or when I need to start considering a euthanasia decision for my pet? I would say to be objective, because it's very difficult to make this decision. So you want to be as objective as possible. And you don't necessarily, want to go off of your feeling, but you can say, what is a happy, good day for my pet? When do I feel like my pet is having a good day? Is that when they eat all of their food? Is it when they run to the door to greet me? Is it when they want to go on a walk and they're excited? Is it when they want to fetch the ball? What is a good day for my pet? When you start seeing those things slow down, they don't want to eat. They don't greet you at the door. They don't seem to recognize you. Maybe they appear to be in pain, so they don't want to stand up or walk. When you notice drastic changes in what would be considered their normal behavior, start keeping track of it. One of my friends told me to do this, and that is to have 2 jars on your countertop, and one of those jars is for good days, and one of those jars is for bad days. And each day you can put a penny in the respective jar, depending on how well your pet did that day. Was this a good day for your pet or a bad day for your pet? You can do that for a month. And you can, at the end of the month, objectively assess, how many good days your pet had, how many bad days your pet had. And that can help you to determine, whether or not your pet's quality of life is affected. If you feel like there's more bad days than good, it could just mean a trip to the veterinarian. It doesn't necessarily have to mean euthanasia. It could mean, let me contact my veterinarian and say, my pet is having a lot of bad days. Is there anything that we can do? Sometimes there are pain medications. Sometimes there's diet changes. Sometimes they may diagnose a condition that's treatable that can prolong your pet's health. But this can be a good place to start to determine whether or not you feel like your pet is suffering and needs assistance.
And a fear that we have is that the dogs can forget about us. Do they become, do they experience Alzheimer's? It's hard to tell.
Yes, they actually do. They get what we call cognitive dysfunction. So that is, as they get older, sometimes they do lose the ability to recognize us. They sort of seem to lose joy in the things that they used to. They don't seem as active. They seem to maybe pace more or seem more distant, or less, less connected to you. So it's not necessarily that they are forgetting you, but certainly there are brain changes that happen, that just they aren't making the same connections. And so yes, that can happen. But the good news is, again, there are things that you can do to try to preserve their brain health. And that's, again, keeping them mentally sharp with games, keeping their exercise appropriate, their nutrition. So Hill's Pet Nutrition does make a special diet, several special diets for geriatric animals, that can actually help to improve their brain health and improve signs of cognitive dysfunction. So can that happen? Yes. But are there things that you can do to help improve your pet's brain health? Yes.
So should we be changing the diet throughout years?
It could be, yes. So I would recommend, as a matter of fact, as your pet becomes a senior pet, that you do change their diet. You can talk to your family veterinarian about which diet is best, but we want to make sure that they stay healthy. And so one of the things that we can do is make sure that they have proper kidney health, liver health, and heart health. And so there are diets for senior pets that, for example, are lower in protein, because protein is hard for the kidneys to digest, or to metabolize. And so you may have a diet that's lower in protein. You could have a diet that's lower in sodium, because high sodium contributes to heart disease. And so all of these things are important as your pet ages, and diet is important to consider. Your pet also needs less calories if they're doing less activity. And a lot of senior diets are lower in fat.
Yes, I have a friend, his senior pet can't have cheese, as a treat anymore.
Yes.
I think that's all we have. And so what is a Golden Paws at Houston SPCA?
Yes, if you're coming into the Houston SPCA this weekend to look for a pet, you may notice that some of our pets have been designated as Golden Paws. And Golden Paws are our senior or geriatric pets that we have done special care for in terms of doing blood work to make sure that they have good organ health before they go home with you. And that's really important, because for senior pets, we want to make sure that we can catch any health issues or diseases as early as possible. So if you're adopting a Golden Paws pet, you can be sure that they've had blood work done, they've had a thorough exam by a veterinarian, and that we're sending a pet home with you as healthy as possible. And so you can take home a pet and have them sit on the couch with you and do some light exercise. And that would be wonderful if you come on down and take a look at all of our senior pets. Well, thank you for joining us. I hope something we said today was helpful to you. Come on down and visit us. We will be waiting for you. Thank you for visiting our campus for all animals. I'm your host, Dr. Roberta Westbrook, and we'll see you next week.